All right, you got to figure it out. You got to track it somehow. How are we actually going to measure customer satisfaction without using surveys? Marianne DeNovellis here with the 6-Figure Mastermind. Keep watching. We're going to teach you how to do it. So you want to know what your customers are really thinking and what they're really saying, maybe behind closed doors, about their experience with you and your product. Let's dig deep and find out exactly what that is, because that information will propel your business into higher quality and even better customer satisfaction. So how do we do it without surveys? Well, there's a few different options that you have available to you that you can use without having to send out a survey and wait for a response from a customer. It's more organic, and a lot of times it'll show up more real and more usable for your business. So how do we do it without surveys? My first and most favorite thing to do is just step into the customer's shoes and go out into the field where the customer is and just kind of have my feelers out and be monitoring what the customers are saying in their texts, in their emails, in their Facebook posts, and get a feel for kind of how they're responding to your product. Now, you can't go into people's phones and read their texts, and you can't go into people's emails and read their emails. No bueno, not good, not legal, but you can go check out social media. Anyone that buys a product or is excited about it or really not excited about it, they are always going to share online. They're going to ask and get feedback and get recommendations or post recommendations or post feedback or really say what's on their mind when they're online. People love to share that feedback, and you're just going to put your feelers out there and understand where people are having conversations. A great way to do this is to have a Facebook group that you are the manager of, that you're the administrator of. Have everyone that's ever purchased a product from you as a part of that group. Just invite them to be a part of that group. Invite them to be a part of that group and share their stories, share their success. And if you ask for that feedback within that group, people are going to feel really welcome and open to sharing that. And if they know that their feedback is actually being implemented, they're more likely to give it and more likely to give constructive feedback instead of just criticism. I'll give you an example. My husband has a game on his phone that we love to play with the kids. In fact, the kids love to play it more than we do. And it's a little chef game. And in this chef game, you can always go to these little villages and check out ingredients from all over the little computer-generated world that they have in there. And this game also has a Facebook community. Now, Facebook is great because it's free and you can bring people from all over the world together in one place. Now, in this Facebook group, the administrators and the creators of the game are constantly monitoring what's going on in the group. Even if someone says, hey, how do you get to level 6? Or how do you do this? And some problem that has already been solved and it's just part of the game, they're also monitoring, hey, I would like for this game to be able to do this. Or I would appreciate it if all of these ingredients got saved in some kind of a pantry so that we could refer to them later or collect them and see what ingredients we need for a certain recipe. Or I would love to be able to learn about some real ingredients and some real dishes from all over the world as part of the game. These creators of the game are administrators and moderators of this group. And they're taking all of that feedback. And what I've heard from the users of this game is that their feedback is actually being implemented in the game. They're making adjustments to the programming. They're making adjustments to the graphics, all based on the customer feedback. So create an open forum. Many successful companies will have open forums that they are monitoring even if they didn't create them themselves. Think about cars. If you've ever had a problem with your car like I have, you see that engine light go on and it's just, well, of course it's going on. It's right before I need to renew my safety and emissions. It drives me crazy. It happens every time. You go into forums. If you're ever going to Google search anything, especially when it goes into cars and maintenance and repair and finding out what's going on, you're going to find a lot of information in forums. You're also going to find a lot of information in feedback. So go where the customers are already going when they're looking for help. Whether that's a feedback forum, whether it's a Facebook group, you're going to find out what they're saying well within those forums. Also be observant if customers give feedback without having been asked, whether it's really positive feedback or maybe it's really negative feedback. You're going to find out what they're saying if you don't ask them. You're going to find out more authentically what really they need to share, what's really on their mind, what they're really thinking and considering in their heart if they're not asked. If they ask, there's this really funky psychology that goes on. If you're asked to fill out a survey, you're more likely to give it high marks. If your experience was anywhere from mediocre to exceptional, you're more likely to weight it on the exceptional side. Now, if your experience was anything less than mediocre, you're really more likely to get zeros all throughout your feedback in your survey. So get some feedback without having to ask for it. Does that make even sense? Like, how do we get feedback without asking for it? Again, you're going to do more of that investigative work. You're going to ask your friends to ask their friends what they think about it without being the one to ask for it. Meaning that you are the producer, you are the entrepreneur, you are the owner of this product. Have other people do your feedback gathering for you and just start up conversations and be part of those conversations. That's totally okay to do, and it's really good to be able to understand what your customers are feeling and understanding to augment and improve your product. Also, in order to remove a middleman from a survey, we're talking like a computer survey with checkboxes or a paper survey that you're passing out maybe at the end of your clients, just take out the middleman. Go straight to the source. Ask your customers directly what they think or feel about their experience, and be available and open for that conversation to take place. The really big problem a lot of entrepreneurs have, especially because we're entrepreneurs, we started this business, there's a lot of emotional connection to it, is sometimes we tend to take feedback from either surveys or directly from customers very personally. I'm going to suggest that you just simply stop doing that. It's not serving you, not working for your business. So allow them to give that feedback and maintain this Switzerland space of being neutral. I call it the Switzerland space because I'm not for or against, I'm just here to listen. I want to know what you have to say. So be the sounding board for their customers when they have feedback, because that is valuable to you. And in fact, that's why a lot of companies, when they send out feedback surveys and things, they offer a reward for that, because the feedback is so valuable. So the more feedback that you can get by actually going out and talking to your customers, the better. I had a really fascinating experience. I was in Costa Rica recently, and I learned something really important about the government structure there. What I learned was that the president figure of Costa Rica, and I can't even remember if it was a president or a minister or whatever they called it, the head guy over Costa Rica actually lives with the people. And here's what I mean by that. When we were driving through Costa Rica on our little bus, we drove right past this apartment complex. Now, it was a nice place, had a lot of beautiful gardens, a lot of beautiful ironwork. The roof was really nice. It was a beautiful building. And the tour guide said, "Do you know why this building is special?" And we just kind of looked at each other and we said, "No, why is this building so special?" And he said, "The president of Costa Rica lives here." And we just looked at each other like, as Americans, the president lives in the White House with lots of space between us and the president, and lots of fences and lots of lasers and spikes, maybe some bullets that are ready to go off if you cross that space without permission. He's very, very protected from being with the people. Not in Costa Rica. The president, you will often find him walking down the street, going into shopping places together. You'll find him at restaurants. You'll find him out and about and among the people, living the life that he is the administrator over. Even to the point where the president will not live in one place. Whoever's the president, the capital of the presidency goes to follow him. So actually, the president will live in several different places all around the country, as opposed to being this one high and mighty location, as sometimes people think of it here. That's because he wants to be a good administrator over his people. He wants to take his responsibility very seriously and understand what the everyday experiences of his community are like. He wants to know what people are thinking. He wants to know what they're feeling. He wants to be in touch with them and be accessible to them. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in a government relationship. The last thing you're going to want to consider when wanting to raise your customer satisfaction without using surveys is compare your results to the customer experience. Now, this has less to do with going out and actually talking to people and getting feedback from them. It's actually looking at your numbers, which you better be tracking. So compare your sales notes compared to the sales to this month, to the sales with this month, and the sales to the month before that, and the sales, projected sales for the next month, and last year's sales. You're going to want to compare your results to what people are really saying. So take a look at your track record. Look how your advertising is going. Look at what kind of advertisements are successful. Look how that's impacting your results. Look and see what kind of products are successful. Look and see what kind of approaches are successful and how they determine what kind of results you have. All these relationships in your entrepreneurial business are separate but connected. You've got your sales results over here. You've got your advertising over here. You've got your marketing budget. You've got your feedback. You've got your surveys. You've got all of that. They're all separate departments, but they're all talking to each other. They're all connected, and one will give you information for another. So if your results aren't exactly where you want them to be, check on the feedback, check the public opinion, check the social proof, check to see what people are saying, and use that information to boost your results, to boost your sales, and your success. Over and over and over again, drop some comments and tell me how it's working for you, and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you tomorrow.